Greetings and welcome to the original show with Chris and Lisa. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm excellent. Welcome, everyone, to the original show. It's a wonderful day, and I'm Chris. I am a mother of four and a homeschooling mom, a healthcare executive, and the co host of the original with Chris and Lisa.
Mm. Thank you, Chris. And I am Lisa, co host to Chris, clinical hypnotherapist, stress management consultant, speaker, author, and welcoming you to our third episode.
Yay!
Yeah.
Wow. We're getting better at this.
I think so. The more we do, the better we get. What is it?
Yeah.
Experience.
Yep. Practice makes perfect.
I don't know the perfection, but I think practice makes us better.
Yeah. Yes. Practicing is fun.
It is.
It is fun.
Did you have a nice week?
I did. I had a great week. Since you're going to show off your mug. Yes, it's been a windy week. We had a slight mishap in our yard, which I'm sure happened across the valley here with the winds. We had a tent canopy that we had outside, and we thought we had secured it, but it wasn't that secure. And I was sitting in my living room, and suddenly it shot straight up in the air, this like 12 by 12 canopy, and now I was like, where did it go? And I ran outside, and luckily it was still in our yard, but it went all the way across the whole yard and all the way in the back and crashed into our kids' playhouse in the back. So it was ruined and it broke, but that was just crazy.
Maybe it was time for a new one. Maybe a
Yeah,
sturdier one.
yeah. Do a better job tying it down on windy days.
Yeah. And we live up on a hilltop, and
Mm,
it was awful. The sound and everything, the way it was blowing, my dog was barking. So I'm like, okay, you didn't bark when it was earthquake, but you're barking at the wind.
yeah, yeah. Lots of scary sounds. Uh,
So, did you know that today is National Hug Day?
I heard today's National Hug Day. We're missing it.
I'm hugging you, girl.
No, I'm hugging you. Air, air hug. That's the new type of hug. Add that to the list of types of hugs for now introduced to us through the year of COVID. The air hug.
Oh my God, we need to add that. I wonder if that has been cloned or we can clone that one.
Yeah, sure. Everybody's using it, so
Yeah. Actually, there's a lot of people who are not even hugging.
no, I know, and I think it was very early on in the pandemic when we did have I did venture to have some people over at my house. It had been, I think it was maybe around August or something. The restrictions just barely lifted,
Hmm.
and so when people came over, basically they said, "So, are we hugging?" I'm like, "No, you can come over. Yeah, I said you could come over, and we have to wash our hands, but no hugging."
Exactly. No hugging, no touching.
So that's
Uh,
the new thing, the new question everybody asks probably: Are we hugging? Are we allowed to hug? Oh,
Believe it or not, I'm still hugging.
yeah, I know. I know it's so hard. I love hugs. I love giving hugs and I love getting hugs. Although now with COVID, we do have the ability now to excuse ourselves from hugs. So for those people who don't like hugs so much, maybe it's time that we introduce the idea of consent. Is it okay if we hug? Or can I give you a hug? Get consent first before approaching. Otherwise, you'll get that
Thanks, but no thanks.
the thanks but no thanks hug. The very slight patty hug in the back.
Right. So you looked up we were talking about boundaries, setting
Yeah.
boundaries. and the way we are touched as when we are young and everything. I think this is what you just said. It sets a great precedent in asking for permission to touch or hug. But it's also creating a wonderful boundary for those who were timid, were
Mhm.
uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and they don't have to hug. So let's go over some hugs. I know I'm a full hugger.
The full bear hug, arms, both arms around, all the way around, tight to the chest hug.
Yep.
Yes. My favorite kind of hug.
Yeah. And one of my friends that I have, he's a police officer, but he's like huge and big. And
He's a
when we
bear.
hug, I mean, it's like he
Yeah.
lifts me up and we hug. It's like even my cousin is like that. My cousin's son, it's like when he hugs me, he knows it's a full on bear hug.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great hug. It's a great hug, and it signifies or it emotes affection and love and cherishing and friendship. So it's a great kind of hug. Great kind of hug.
And it's a trust.
Yes. Yes.
There's an element of trust of who I'm hugging or who's hugging me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also the these types of hugs, they actually are uniform in the world of acting and stage managing and filmmaking, because there are names for hugs, and actors and directors, they know what all those mean. So when they're storyboarding a scene or blocking the stage and they put in there a type of hug, people kind of understand. So there's one hug. I remember this from my theater class in college, believe it or not, all those many years ago. There's one, the buddy hug, and it's the side hug and that like kind of shake and pat. So it's a side hug and it's a
Come here,
buddy.
buddy.
Yeah. So it's like, you're my buddy. I trust you. You trust me. We're buddies. We're friends.
Right.
So that's a cool kind of hug too. What else is there? There's you already mentioned it, the bear hug that kind of lifts you off your feet. So they call that the carry mug, carry hug,
Carry mug.
the carry mug, the carry hug. So
I didn't even know there is a name to that.
yeah, there is. There's also the twirly hug. The twirly hug is great because that's kind of like the hug you give to little children, or you pick them up and you kind of twirl
Oh,
around like that. So it's a happy hug. It's joyous. It's I'm so super glad to see you hug. Or if you're doing it when you're saying goodbye, I can't wait to see you again. So
got it.
that's another very affectionate type of hug. And then
When you say affectionate, to me, the most romantic way of hugging, other than if I'm with a lover, if I were to think about it, it would be like if I am in the kitchen or doing something and he used to come and hug me from behind.
oh, the spooning hug.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, yeah, they call it the spooning hug. So
Okay.
yeah, that's very romantic and very affectionate too. So that's a great hug too.
Yeah, because you can just literally lean in.
Yes. Speaking of romantic hugs, there is a hug that I remember from that theater class called the straddle hug or the sit stand hug. So imagine this. There's a woman is standing and the man is sitting next to her, and then they hug. They face each other and hug. But the woman's arms are above the man's shoulders and she's hugging his head against her chest, and his arms are lower, hugging her waist. So
Okay.
this type of hug, when you're blocking the stage or setting up a cinematography scene, it conveys a kind of a mixed message. So depending on how the director wants the scene to go off, it could be about and this is absolutely fascinating, but when they're hugging like that, usually the man's head is in the chest area of the woman. So
Okay.
that could be, the man wants nurturing. It's like,
Mhm.
mama, his head's right where your boobs are, where, he remembers being nourished as a child. And then there's also that connection where it's the woman's heart against the man's head. So she makes the connection that I love him for all he believes and thinks, or everything that is intellectual about him, or so her connection, it's really
Right.
her head that's connecting with her heart in that scene. So you could convey that in that type of hug. And it also could convey the fact that men and women come to each other from very different places. Some
Mm.
come together in at different levels. So it's literally they're coming together at different levels. It's such a cool kind of way to present a relationship in a movie scene or on a stage. So you can make it tension filled, right? Because of whatever, however the scene is, or you can make it an extremely, loving and comforting scene, just depending on how you want to convey it. But that's a very cool type of hug that's portrayed a lot in movies and on stage. Cool, huh?
Yeah, uh, exactly.
I
Because
remember that from college.
I know, not only that, you just went into a memory lane of remembering something from college years or high school years. And you know what I like about this? No matter what we have discussed so far, there's always a story that a part of our history that we can connect it to,
Yeah, yeah, I know. And
right?
and it's something I haven't thought about in years, so it's kind of cool that I'm, remembering it. So that's what we have for National Hug Day. What else? What other kinds of hugs are there?
Um,
Name all the
oh,
different types of
the one I don't like to be hugged by is this thing
yeah.
that they come and hug you and they do this 1, 2, 3 pat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't like to be patted. To me, it's like, oh, I feel sorry for you.
Ah, ah. Yeah, the half-hearted hug. It's not they're not really into it or they yeah,
Yeah,
like
the body is not touching, but the hand
yeah,
is like,
yeah.
it's just tapping.
Yeah. Or there's also this one called the London Bridge hug.
Oh,
Remember that? Yes. So you're only joined at the shoulders and the head or above your shoulders and the
right.
whole waist area. So it's supposed to convey that this is an intellectual or a friendship that is platonic. There's nothing sexual because the middle section or the sexual organs are not touching or meeting.
Actually, the heart is not even touching.
Yeah, the heart's not even touching. So that's how that can be conveyed as something that
Right.
is, not that type of relationship. There's a completely intellectual, relationship. So who
Uh,
knew that hugs had such variety and meaning?
of course. I
Yeah.
mean, the hug that we do in the bedroom is completely different than the outside, but to me, another romantic hug is on a dance floor.
Yeah. Slow dance
The
hug.
slow dance hug. When
Yeah.
you look up and then that's when the woman's chest, I mean, head is on his chest or
Yes.
on right here,
Yeah.
and he's holding her.
Right.
It's like, or she is with she, doesn't matter, but the partner dance like that.
Yeah. That's very cool. Unless you happen to be taller than your man, and then it's his face that's on your chest. I've seen that.
I only speak of what I know.
Oh, so most people are taller than you because well, I'm even shorter than you. I'm barely 5 feet tall. So most of my slow dance hugs will be facing a man's chest.
Right.
Yeah.
Mine too. Mine too.
Even when I'm in heels. Uh,
Well, John is taller than you even when in heels too.
yeah, he is. I'm
Yeah.
very short.
So how is life at home with your kids and your hubby? Do you guys have a lot of hugs or you're not? Because here's the thing. We're talking about different hugs, but if someone has not grown up
Around.
with without I mean with hugs from mom or dad,
Mhm.
there's families that they kiss and hug all the time when they're coming in or as they're leaving. They'll kiss mom and get a hug, or from grandma. And there are homes that it's so reserved
Yeah, yeah,
that they have not seen hugs and kisses within the family.
yeah. No, we're very huggy and touchy, and we've also been very verbalizing of our love for each other. So
Okay.
it's very easy in my household to say I love you to each other. So, and we're very huggy. And if it's not always a hug, it's always, sitting close to each other. Or, sometimes when my
Right.
kids, they don't want to ask for a hug, but I know when they need a hug, because they'll say, Mom, can you scratch my head? Or can you rub my neck? Because they know that as soon as I do that, I'm gonna give them a hug during that,
Right.
or right after, or right when they first come sit next to me, I'll give them a hug. And John is very affectionate with his boys. They're very physical and affectionate with each
Yeah,
other.
he's touchy-feely.
Yes, touchy-feely. Yes. So,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
know in our household, when I grew up, I would see my dad. My
Mhm.
dad was more huggy touchy, and I guess that's the scene in my head, that when my mom was in the kitchen or something and he would come home, he would say hello, come home from work and he would say hello. And if she was doing something, he would just very gently touch her hand, or come and hug her and give her a peck on the cheek, and then go wash up or get dressed or something like that. So, and we were huggies.
Mhm.
And yeah, so but
That's good. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
as we grow older, it becomes it's not as easy. That's what I can say. It's with my mom, I'm not as huggy touchy. Today, as I was walking out, I said, "Mom, it's a National Hugs Day." So, and then I hugged her and I gave her a pick on her cheek, and I
Oh,
walked out. But normally, no matter how huggy touchy I am with a lot of people, I'm not as much with my mom.
oh, well, because you see her all the time. Sometimes hugs are more of that type of greeting. Like, I
Right.
haven't seen you in a while. I'm so glad to see you. But you see somebody every day. It's not that, the level isn't as high. But it's good
That's a good one.
to remember to hug each other, even if you see each other, even if you're stuck in the same house with these people for, months on end. It's still good to give each other a hug.
Yeah. Well, did you know that hugs are very healing? I mean, coming from a world that I do the clinical hypnotherapy, and the touch means something, because our muscles have memory.
Mhm.
And we can recall, as I am speaking, I can even ask this for our viewers. Have you thought about how hugs make you feel?
Mhm.
So that's one question. Another one would be, if you could just imagine in your mind, when something traumatic has happened or you hurt yourself, that little hurt, that cut, or not necessarily a small little cut, but if when you were young, you had your finger caught in between the door and smashed it, that that memory is in your body, broken, cut, hurt, pinched, hit,
Mhm.
all that. The muscle has memory. So that's why when we talk about, because I specialize in working with women and DV situations, it's like there's good touch, there's bad touch. I mean, someone can walk right behind you if it's a household that you are comfortable with that kind of a hug. But if somebody walking were to walk behind you and you're not comfortable, your entire body will cringe.
Or if you come from a situation where hugging either is connected to some sort of violence or unpleasant experience, then yeah, you're
Of
gonna
course.
cringe away from that. Yep. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Or forced. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because now, again, going back to this whole COVID situation, we have the opportunity to kind of introduce that whole new level of asking for consent. Even though I mean, you'll get to know, obviously, with your friends and your relatives that you know very well, you know who are huggers and who are not. And
Right.
I'm thinking in my mind right now that even with the people I work closely with, either here or in Hawaii, I know even after all these years that there's some people that will, I could just go immediately to hug. We hug each other and it's no big deal. And other ones you kind of hold back because you're not really sure they really want a hug. But
Mm,
that's now absolutely more defined because
right.
people will ask, like my relatives asked when they first came into my house, during the pandemic, are we hugging?
Right. So if you hold someone, and when someone is in a bad situation or something bad happens, and when friends come and hug, that hug that we need for the comfort of, I just need a hug because to feel soothed, to feel safe, to feel comforted.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even have to say a word, and you
Yeah.
can just hold someone and give them, we talked about this safe space, and just give them the space for them just to breathe into it, or cry, or just let their shoulders drop and feel that I am safe in your arms.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's also very helpful. Hugging is a lot easier than sometimes saying things. Words are very difficult. I
Yeah.
have a friend that has gone through some difficult times this past holiday, and we're on the phone. I'm like, I miss you. I wish I could give you a hug, because really, I almost don't know what to say, or the words I say don't feel like they're enough. I'm good
Mm,
at words, and I'm very good at saying what I mean and speaking from the heart, but even that sometimes doesn't feel enough to me, that I feel like I really need to reach out and hug her and touch her, and and that's how basically I extend that compassion or comfort to somebody else, is through hugging, because sometimes words will fail, and what you can do if you can't say the right words or you don't feel comfortable talking is you can give a hug. That's a
right.
real easy to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, I don't know why I keep going back to therapy and body and everything. There is so much of healing going on if we can hold someone in a hug for 30 seconds. I mean, it's like a science. If you can just hold someone for 30 seconds, which is a long time. We think
Yeah.
30 seconds. I mean, if we start thinking and counting 30 seconds, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Because mostly it's like about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, out the door we go.
Usually hugs are very fast,
It
because
is.
it's either in greeting or in leaving.
Right.
So yeah, so you'd have to take some time. 30 seconds, it might seem like a lifetime, especially if you're not used to hugging. But there are times when 30 seconds is exactly what you need to feel better, to get those endorphins going, to stop that flow of stress hormones.
And you know what happens when you hug fully and you hold that long? The other person's heartbeat slows down, their blood pressure comes down, and because it gives them a sense of comfort
Mhm.
and safety.
Yeah. That's amazing. I know well, when you're comforting somebody, eh, for those of us who have had to do this for a child, when you hug them and they're, hysterical, you keep hugging them until they calm down.
Mm,
Get to the point where they don't need to hold on to you anymore. And I think that physiologically is what happens. You're the calm one. The child's heartbeat is, stressed out
yep.
and beating faster. So, it'll calm down to match your slower heartbeat. So it's magical. Hugs are magical, magical and healing.
Right. Which reminds me when there was a time that I was taking my mom to the chiropractor, and she says, "Oh, I just want to go and get his hugs when he adjusts me."
So
That's
that's
the one adjustment that cracks or adjusts the back,
the
and
chiropractor hug.
yeah, the chiropractor hug.
I've
Yeah.
had them before. Those are great. Somebody hugs you so tight, your back cracks. I love it.
Oh
Those are
yeah, isn't that a great one?
those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, can you please just
Yeah.
hug me and pull me from that side? Yeah, exactly. So, um, the Kama Sutra also has a hug, which is like that straddle one.
A hug chapter? in the
Mhm.
Kama Sutra?
Well, there is a whole different other figurines, figures and styles of hugging and sensuality and everything. It's not, even though it is sexual, but it is not sexuality. So Kama Sutra is the way of making love and hugging without necessarily hugging. So
Right.
it is all about energy, distance, and sending this compassion and love and care.
Cool.
I know.
I know I have, it's been years and years since I picked up that book. So might be
Mm,
time to take a look at it again under with a different perspective than I did it, when we were silly little girls laughing about it.
and
And
guess what? Valentine's is coming.
you're like, what? How do you do that? Oh my
Can my leg go up enough?
God. How does, I'll break my arm doing that.
Let's have the chiropractor on the speaker.
Exactly. I'm gonna need a chiropractor hug after this.
Oh, that's a good one. After a while, our bodies will get to that point that if we're not moving it in the right ways, it becomes stiff.
That's right. That's right. And hugging is great exercise, especially if you hold the hug for 30 seconds.
Hey, did you know that there's this woman or girl, whatever, not a girl, a woman who
Mhm.
does hugging as her profession, and she earns money just for a session of, you just come there, you don't have to say a word, and you
Mhm.
just lay there and hug in different positions.
Really? Oh my gosh, how much does that cost?
Big time.
Really? Oh
More
my
than
god.
I make.
Wow. Like over $100 an hour? I don't know if it's
More
like,
than I make.
wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, per session is more than what I charge.
I guess well, no judgment here, but I guess she's providing a service for
Is that
people.
true?
Yeah, is it true? Is that a service? Well, yeah, if you really
Is
need
it
a hug. But how sad you can't get a hug from somebody, just from anybody, you have to go buy a hug.
Well,
But
is it sad, or there are really
it
people who are in situations that
yeah,
they really do not have anyone?
yeah, I
The
know.
same way as there are people who don't have anyone to talk to, and open up without judgment,
Right.
without being criticized or judged, and they go and see a professional.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a professional for everything, and I'm not knocking her down. I'm just laughing because when I found out that she makes more than I, and I'm like, okay,
Wow.
yeah,
Well, if you think about it, sometimes hugs with the people that you can get hugs from, the people close to you or in your family, it has a lot of baggage to it. Maybe that's why we sometimes, refrain from hugging people. There are times when, I don't want to be hugged by John because I'm mad at him because he forgot to take the trash out and I had to run out in my pajamas at 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday because he didn't take the trash out. But why is it his job anyway? Because I've got 3 grown boys, so, you know. Anyways, so there's a lot of baggage, right?
yeah.
With a hug. So maybe but you still need it. So maybe you go and you buy a hug from a stranger. You don't have to say anything. There's no baggage,
No expectations,
no expectations. Right, right.
no
Yeah.
expectations, and both sides know it's just a hug. There, nothing else is asked, nothing else is expected, nothing else is provided.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just different spooning, different hugs. Maybe they do all the different hugs and everything in 1
Mhm.
hour, which satisfies and nurtures so much. Um, we're talking about hug, but hug is again, touch, right?
Yeah. That's right. Connection.
Connection, which you just reminded me of something. As you know, for over 15 years, I did massage therapy. And when a client would come on my table, to me, that client of mine was very sacred, the body. is
Mhm.
very sacred, because even though it is the client and I'm talking and everything, the body, when I started doing the massage, I would always start from the feet,
Mhm.
not from the back. So they were always face up, and I would start from the feet. And someone asked me and said, but massage is always face down, and you start from the back. And I said, unless you prefer it like that, I do not.
Mhm.
Here's
Mhm.
why. Because if I'm starting from the feet, then that person is laying there face up, and I would always inquire, do you want a face like a mask or a cushion that I put in your on your eyes or not? And they would say, no, I'm comfortable. So there's very little lighting. And starting from the feet, the bottom of our feet is in a way a duplicate, a replica
Right.
of our entire body, all the organs and everything.
Mhm.
When I start with that, the entire body gets acquainted with my energy,
Ah, I see. Because
right?
all the pressure points in the feet correspond to points on the body.
On the body. The
Nice.
same way
Okay.
as we have
Right.
pressure points on our ears that
Mhm.
people that acupuncturists work with,
Uh-huh.
and right? And on the top of our head and face. So there is pressure points everywhere. And that connection is so valuable. And I
Mhm.
would start from the feet and then do one leg and then to the other. Here's another thing. Before I walked in to touch my client, I would do a like a fast cleanse or release of my own, that
Mhm.
whatever it is in my in my mind or in my psyche, I left it behind the door, and when I walked in, it was clear. Because if I am in here and I got upset at a phone call or someone else, or I'm angry or something happened that day, all that energy is still in my hand, and it's going to be transferred onto your
Right.
body.
Right.
So next time, if you are going for a massage and you come home feeling more agitated, or your body is uncomfortable, or even chiropractic is the same thing,
Yeah.
a part of their energy has been transferred onto your
Yeah.
body.
Right. Right. That's amazing. That's kind of like when also with cooking. I believe that too. My kids, when they were younger, oh, I got to do this with the kids again. When they were younger, we would make what's called a giggle cake. And so we would make the cake all together, and everybody was in charge of a different ingredient, and we'd all take turns stirring it. But at the same time that we're stirring it, everybody has to tell a joke. Everybody has to try to make each other laugh. So the whole time we're making the cake, we're laughing and giggling, and I guarantee you, the cake always tastes so good than if you're just throwing the ingredients together. Because we believe that we're infusing all of our joy and happiness into
Mm.
when you eat it, it makes you feel good and joyful and tastes delicious. So it's along those same lines. Have you ever seen the movie or read the book Like Water for Chocolate?
Of course I did.
Yes, so kind of like that.
Stirring the chocolate and everything. Yes.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was a beautiful one. And you just reminded me of something, in the Hispanic culture, when they make the tamales,
Yeah.
it's the whole family, the women get together and make that thing,
Mhm.
the tamales, and the way they put it together, they open it up. And I think that's a beautiful cultural thing for women to gather,
Yeah.
which is one of the pictures I have on my wall. That the same original picture is in San Simeon Museum in
Mhm.
Pasadena, and it's called the Women Gatherer.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much great energy and nurturing love can be passed down through that type of gathering, especially when you're preparing food. That's what I believe. So,
Right. And
very
you remember at my 3E events when we did the healing circles,
yes, yes. Very powerful, very powerful. I love that.
the affirmations and everything, seeing into the eyes, and everybody would hug right after.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that was wonderful. So such a great gathering, and I hope we can do 3E again very soon once everything calms down and the pandemic is over.
So, ladies, we we do all this conversations and everything because we want to bring some kind of an education, something maybe you have not talked about daily or you forgot, like the way Chris did a memory lane to her college years and her acting and everything. And we talked about mom and home and family and massage. It's all about touch, it's about connection, it's about how we share love and intimacy, either personal or professional. And for that, please, we would look forward to your emails and connections. And by all means, let us know how we're doing.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone who had sent me emails and messages. Wow, I'm just so overwhelmed by all the lovely thoughts, and thank you also for those of you who asked some really good questions. I think, Lisa, we should cover a couple of those what viewer emails in some subsequent episodes. I think it'd be interesting. I've gotten a lot of interesting questions that I think when we talk about it will really inform and educate a lot of others. And
That would be great. And we'll be more than happy to share the email and give only their first name, or maybe if they are okay, we'll just give them their first name,
yeah,
or just say this is the email we received.
right.
How about we do it next week?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Tony. So
I've
all
got a few emails. You've got a few emails. We'll just bring it and answer. That would be the Q&A. We will answer all their emails.
yeah, or at least bring it up for discussion. So if you have a question or something that you want to ask us about and maybe want to see us talk about it on the show, go ahead and send us an email. The emails are right underneath there scrolling by.
Yes.
But that's where you can find us, where you can send us messages.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, love. Well,
Hey.
a new year, a new president, a new beginning.
Yep.
God bless us all.
Yeah. Oh, one last hug.
Yes.
The self hug. Hug yourself. Because you matter.
Yeah. You do matter. And you matter to me, Chris.
Oh, I wish I could hug you, but I'm sending you hugs. That's the nice thing is we can send each other hugs now.
Exactly.
So, yeah, please send hugs. And for those of that who you have someone within reach, give them a hug, or maybe ask them if they would like a hug. Maybe practice getting consent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you are interested, I have a group on Facebook. It's called Me Time with Lisa, that every single day I put affirmations and posts and everything. And today's was really nice. So please join. It's called Me Time with Lisa. But in the meantime, we also have our group page, the original group page, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, it's a private group page that we can have conversations there. You are invited, and we'll make sure that the link and everything is there for you.
Yes.
Maybe we can share some of the emails there too.
Share some of the emails. I've also actually had someone request, can we do a Zoom with the people in the group?
Of course we can.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We should do
That's
that.
a great idea.
Now that we're
That would
getting
be wonderful. We can have a Zoom evening.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes.
All right. Very good.
Anything is possible.
I know. It's great. Well, thanks, Lisa. It's a good show. Thanks for bringing all your hug stories.
Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Until then, this is The Original with Chris and Lisa. God bless.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm thirsty. Don't you love it? The original.
I love it.
Oh, wait. Let me do a picture.
Okay.
Everybody's like, oh, Lisa doing another selfie. But this is not a selfie. It's a picture. Oh, you're in pose position.
Yes, I'm a poser. I'm a hugger and a poser.
I like that. Okay.
I take a picture too, but I don't know how to do it on my computer yet.
I just did it.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it on the computer either. All right, love. See you next week.
Bye. See ya.
Bye-bye.